Welcome to another episode of Canter Therapy Podcast. My name is Dr. Shelley Appleton. Today we are welcoming back someone I absolutely love talking horses with. It's Peter Cowell from Conundrum Horse Handling in Cootamundra in New South Wales. This is our second conversation with Peter, and if you enjoyed the first one, I think you're really going to love where this one takes us. Peter is incredibly thoughtful and experienced horseman. He's curious, he experiments, he questions his own ideas, and he has an extraordinary ability to take what he's learned from over many years of horses and from other major horsemen, including one of his major influences, American horseman Harry Whitney, and continue to pull those ideas apart and explore them more deeply. This conversation really gets into the layers of horsemanship. We talk about feel, timing, pressure, release, sensitization, desensitization, the difference between seeing a behavior and seeing the thought that comes before it, and why becoming more skilled with horses sometimes means discovering that the rules you learnt earlier weren't not necessarily wrong, they were simply stepping stones towards seeing something more. Peter describes horsemanship in this episode as being part science, part art, and part humility. And I think that beautifully captures this entire conversation. We also get very practical with Peter. Peter explains his fascinating approach to teaching young horses to tie up. It's clever, thoughtful, and quite difficult to fully appreciate through words alone. So make sure you visit the show notes for this episode. We have included a link to a short video of Peter working through the technique with a horse so you can actually see what he's describing. You will also find information in the show notes about Peter, his wife Julie, and Conundrum Horse Handling in Cootamundra in New South Wales. Before we get started, if you enjoy Canter Therapy Podcast, please take a moment to like, follow, or subscribe wherever you listen. It really does help more horse people find this podcast. You can also visit Canter Therapy Podcast website, www.cantertherapy.com.au, to find out more about the podcast, how you can support Kat and me in the work that we do, and of course, check out our Canter Therapy Podcast merchandise. Now settle in for one of those conversations that might just change what you notice the next time you work with your horse. So here's our second conversation with horseman Peter Cowell. Good evening, Kat.
Good evening, Shelley. And who do we have tonight?
Oh, I'm pretty excited because I managed to con Peter Cowell to come back on the podcast after our super podcast a couple of weeks ago. How you going, Pete?
Good, thanks, Shelley. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I have locked in so much from our podcast. It's actually I would rate that down as coming up with more concepts in that one podcast that you delivered, such as I'll go through it, the ragged edge. I have totally given up the coal face. I have now adopted Peter Cowell, although every time I say it, I have to say the ragged edge thanks to Peter Cowell, because I used to call it the coal face, but now I call it the ragged edge. He requires a bit of an explanation, but I require citing you. The other thing, it's that's a goal, not a method. That is
I loved that.
Oh, yeah, that is deep. We could even talk more about that, actually. Yeah, so much. Anyway, Pete, I gave you some homework. How'd you go?
Well, I've got lots of things written down.
Okie dokie. All right, so let's start. What's the first thing you wrote down?
Well, what I was going to say is I don't think I told you before, I'm actually doing the weanlings at the moment. I'm into my second week.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
it's actually happening, right?
Oh, this is exciting.
That's where I was today, and I've got 18 in
Wow.
for 2 weeks, and then I'll have another 18. And then we're going to see how the numbers go, because I'm sharing it with another fella who I had high hopes for, but he also was thinking of being a farrier and has gone back that way.
Oh,
So we need more handlers and we need more good farriers. So at least we didn't lose him back to, some other specialty, some other profession. But
I was going to say most people either they give up and go truck driving, from my experience.
yeah, so we've still got him in the horse world, but I've got progressively less each year since he's been doing it. And then for the last 3 years, and now I think I'm going to do more than him again this year. So I can't retire, apparently.
Don't.
Damn it. I think Kat and I are going to have an odyssey. We're going to have to come down. I think we might have to
I
give
think
you a
so.
hand. Yeah.
Well,
we got-
I'm doing it for sure for the rest of this week and 2 more weeks, and then maybe 2 more weeks after that I have to see.
Yeah. So I reckon 2027, if you haven't retired, I think Kat and I are going to have to block out some time and we'll come give you a hand because I think we need to learn.
2027 is officially the 25th year, and I thought I should hang on to that.
Oh, definitely. Oh, we got to. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to learn a thing or two. Yeah, because there's big gap, like foals, wheeling. They're all my my gap in my experience.
They're so much fun because they're blank slate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
And there's
scary.
sponges. They just
Scary.
stuff
Yeah,
up information.
they're little sponges, but with your old horse, on a really good day, you probably make an improvement of 0.1% at something a lot of days. Whereas with them, you can see like chunks of 26% improvement.
Yeah. Wow.
It's happening longer. Or going backwards at a high rate right in front of your eyes.
Yeah. All righty. So back to your homework.
We could go down some concepts.
Yes. Let's go some concepts.
So I don't know. This could be a bit like Ian's positive reinforcement falling out people.
Excellent. Let's go there.
We love controversy.
Well, it's not wrong. You know, my favorite saying, everything
Yes.
is not right, including what I just said.
Yep.
But when you don't know at all about how to train, and then you get going, and there's this sensitized, desensitized thing. And for quite a lot of years, I actually quoted that to people. And now I don't really look at it like that. But I wouldn't say it's wrong. It's like a stepping stone.
Oh, well, I'd love to talk about that because I was the same. So I'm keen to hear your observations on this.
Yeah. Well, sensitize, and I do think, I mean, you're teaching people and things. I think sometimes the thing you've decided isn't quite the thing was a perfectly legitimate stepping stone for you. And you shouldn't really do them at it. Like, they deserve to have a go at it too, except you just sort of, whereas we might have got told this is the be all and end all, let's work it out. It wasn't. You just tell people now, this isn't everything, but I think you need to get your head around this before you'll get your head around the next.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So the sensitized, desensitized, I used to say, and it's still right in a way, to sensitize, you do it till he moves. Whatever you're doing, you do it till he moves, is a layman's term. And desensitize, you do it and get out before he moves.
Yeah.
Or if you're too slow, keep doing it till he stops.
Yeah. In a nutshell.
So that's sensitized and desensitized, and I wouldn't say that is wrong. But then Buck Brannaman, I heard, pointed out that you can accidentally release for escaping, so you couldn't stay with him, and you're trying to desensitize, and then he got away, so you've released for escaping. So I was well aware of that. But then when Harry put me onto the thought thing, he releases for more, these are my words, not his. He releases for relaxation / rhythm.
Cool.
So if you had just got fairly handy at, like more handy than your person who's never done it, you've got it under your belt and you go, I know this, sensitized, desensitized, don't release for escaping. And then you're standing there at the fence watching me now, I can guarantee it because I can read it on people's faces.
Yeah.
He just released for escaping, and then I'll stop and the horse will walk up and I'll touch it with the thing that I was trying to touch it with. And I can see the confusion on their face. But it doesn't mean that the thing Buck Brannaman said was wrong at all. he'd see the difference. But
Yeah.
I was maybe just doing like you and I talked on our last thing about micro releases.
Yes.
So I'll try and get a bit more specific instead of just being so general. If you had a horse, had a foal, say, going around you and you're trying to rub him with a noodle or a flag or something, and you put it on him and you've already taught him to respond a little bit, step his hinds away or his shoulders talk, as he's banging around there with the noodle on his back, in the old way of thinking, you had to stay there until he gave in.
Yeah.
Whereas now I might say, could you step your hind up under you? And he did with the noodle on his back. So I'll take the noodle off because he did a rhythmic, obedient step with the noodle there. But if you took it off without him making a change in his brain, you would still be doing what Buck said. You would still be releasing for an escape. So you can definitely still make that mistake.
Yeah.
But when someone's watching, they're assuming you did make that mistake. Whereas often I can have one where I've never yet been able to touch him with the noodle while he was standing still. Every time I went to touch him, he took off. I asked him to come around like a hexagon, like, could you just respond with your bend and your inside hind on that point and that point and that point and that point, and take the noodle off in between because he's doing a nice rhythm. You take it off and he comes to a halt, and this is a horse you've never been able to touch with the noodle standing still. He comes to a halt, has a look at you, you reach out and touch him with the noodle, and the person standing there going, why did that work? So I think there's a lot of stuff like that.
So what's your theory that it worked? What's your hypothesis of why that worked?
Well, I think because he made a relaxation change in his brain whilst he was carrying the noodle. But another thing that Harry's sort of big on, and Mark Langley too, and Ross, that it's about the lead rope more. You're using the stick and everything to back up the lead rope. So he was responding nicely to that lead rope in places and just wearing the noodle like you'd strapped a paddle onto him.
Yeah.
And so, yes, the noodle came off at times, but the head collar pressure never went away. I mean, it went away as he softened, but it didn't disappear off his head. So, well, that leads us to a different thing. When people talk about negative reinforcement, that's obviously a thing, negative reinforcement. But if someone says, "Oh, you're using negative reinforcement," I go, "Well, yes, but what tool am I using to add the pressure? What exact thing am I releasing pressure for?" Saying that you use negative reinforcement is like an umbrella term.
Yeah.
But if you decided, so with that noodle analogy, I'm sort of releasing when he softens into the halter so when they're watching that noodle come on and off, they may be getting the time. They think I'm getting the timing wrong because it wasn't quite as important as they thought it was. Yeah, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
But,
it's like capturing their attention at certain moments of what has meaning, what doesn't have meaning, and what's not harmful.
I think that's not a bad way of putting it, because you're rewarding him for that soft intention in that moment, soft attention.
Yeah.
And I think that's difference. I know Ross, I think that's something Ross does, except if I said that to him, he'd argue with me for 10 minutes.
Ross Jacobs.
But I've learned a lot off Ross.
Yeah, definitely.
It takes, as you said, it takes a while to gel what exactly.
Yeah.
But the soft attention or soft intention. And so therefore, if one rule of thumb was you can only teach one thing at a time, I mean, it's not strictly true, but if you've really got a problem, you can only do one thing at a time. You can't teach him to, like Ian Leighton was saying last week or last time that you talked to him. He's not trying to have him go into the scary corner of the arena and go round and go soft and you pick one. And then it looks to people like you're doing two things at once, but you're not strictly teaching two things because the first one got ticked off. He's just doing that now. You're not really teaching it. So at the end of 10 minutes, you're sort of teaching three things, but you laid them on one at a time.
Yeah.
So I forget where I'm going with that. So that soft intention, and people want obedience and they want relaxation, but especially in the race world with foals, they seem to just go on the obedience.
Yeah.
And then hope to. So I was the same. I'd go obedience and then hope relaxation came in as he got more used to it. But now I realise you can sometimes do it back to front.
Yeah.
And do relaxation first and add obedience second. So therefore, someone who, I don't know, what you'd call them a halfway handy trainer, they've learnt that you can't just be the sort of person that goes out with the paddock and doesn't think that what they're doing is affecting their horse. Then you get hyper vigilant, everything I do affects my horse and I can't release for that and I can't release for that and I can't release for that, which is a part of the journey.
Yeah. Yes.
When you get a person like that watching me, with these little foals, which is different to your old horse where you know what he knows and someone might think, gee, you're being fussy with him. But these little things, they only had a head collar put on yesterday. And so sometimes I will just release because he sort of softened and looked at me and said, can you help? And I'll release for that. And you see the halfway handy person going, but he stepped backwards, you want him to step forwards. And I think as long as you have like a little notebook in your head, I think you know what I mean. You're always just going, I'll have to do that in a minute. Don't forget that one. We'll address that in a minute.
Yeah, I call it chipping away. I'm chipping away at. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect. I'm chipping away. That's better than that's sort of there. Bit of a chip.
and you just have to go, well, with this one, the thing I'm chipping away on is this. When you've got 18 of them, you're going, you're the one that I can't do that on. But that comes with experience too, I think, if you've only got one horse. I went through a stage about, on the first couple of years, I'd get a horse in for his third session, say, and start him to do something and go, haven't we done this? And then I go, oh, sorry, it wasn't you. So, to be fair, he didn't learn from watching over the fence. So,
no, fair enough.
Because you think, I've done this several times to go, but you haven't done it.
Yeah. So, I just want to recap on what you've said then, because you've said some very cool things. So first, I just want to reiterate them because they're pretty profound and I want to make sure they don't get lost in this podcast. So first of all, with the sensitizing and desensitizing, it's really deeper than that. It's like kind of
want to get your head around it.
You do. And I love how you said that. It's almost what's really happening is that you're discerning the horse. Like first of all, you're not necessarily getting obedience. You're kind of getting the horse okay with it and then getting the horse to understand it. That was the first thing that's really good. And then also that getting the horse to discern what they're meant to take notice of in that moment. What means something, what doesn't mean something. So the head collar pressure means something, but not the noodle or the flag or whatever's being used.
Yeah. And Harry Whitney sort of says, can you do this? And now can you do this even though this noodle's hanging around here?
Yeah. It's like an add-on.
And so in the end, yes, he's getting used to the noodle, but it's a bit different to how people go, get used to this noodle.
Yeah, now, and we'll take it away when you stop freaking out. So,
Yeah.
the other thing you
It's
said,
not terrible, but there's a bit more to it, as you said.
yeah, there is more to it. And the other thing was with the release of pressure, with the negative reinforcement, when you release the pressure, it's like if you release the pressure, but it's not 100% perfect, but there's some ingredient in there that you're tapping, that's actually okay. It might look to the black and white person that, oh, you released at the wrong time. But no, I released at a moment that that little horse looked at me or softened just slightly.
You can't
And then-
get everything at once.
No.
No.
And so
you'll
that,
fry their little brains if you try to.
yeah.
And it's interesting how people sort of agree, oh, you can't teach everything at once. And they don't extrapolate that out to, well, therefore you have to teach it in bits.
Yeah.
They don't sort of realize nearly everyone agrees when you say, oh, you can't teach a foal everything at once. Oh, no, you can't. And then they proceed to.
And they proceed to be, people sitting in the grandstand saying, oh, that's wrong. That was released at the wrong time. How dare you do that? No, very cool. So those are very cool points. Now, Pete, what else have you got? What else have you got written down?
Just to finish off on that one,
Yeah.
I think one of the main reasons you do what you said, release for a little bit of something, is I wouldn't say this is the greatest bad thing you can do, but it's something to be very aware of. Not releasing for him having a go at something.
Yeah.
That's sort of bad. So you're way better off going, oh, I don't know, I'll release a bit. And then if you go, as soon as you think about it, you go, I don't think that was it. Just don't wait so very long.
Yeah.
Because your release has the dimension of how long did I stop for after I released. I think, you could release for a quarter of a second or release and go home.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Everywhere in the middle. So I would say, when in doubt, release, and then go,
Yes.
I'm only going to give you 4 seconds for that.
Yeah.
We'll go again.
Yeah. And I think that's important. What I tell people is, like, if you're not sure, release. You're going to find out from it anyway.
Yeah.
It's going to be the outcome. You're going to work out whether that was a good idea or a bad idea, but it's better than them losing their try.
Sure. Exactly. Well, that's where I was going next. They lose their try. But while we're on negative reinforcement, and you might have a better grip on this than me academically, but I think often I do negative reinforcement and someone, especially in the racing world, who says, yes, I do that too, more does positive punishment.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's an overlap.
Yes, there is.
But I trend towards the negative reinforcement and they trend towards the positive punishment. So when they watch me go whack, 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 oh, there he did it, they assume I whacked him into doing it.
Yeah.
Did the wrong thing and I hit him for it.
Yes.
And then he went, I won't do that again, which is rarely what you actually do. But this only dawned on me last year that people watching me go, yes, that's what I do. And then I watch them and go, oh.
Yeah.
And then I went, yeah. But if the saying that you see what you think you're going to see, sort of, they go, oh, yeah, that's what he did. He whacked it for doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. I think
saying I was annoying it while it was doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's a slightly different take to I whacked it for doing the wrong thing.
Yes, exactly. Or that saying, is that kind of equivalent to that saying, don't say do?
Yeah.
Well, I think that leads in very nicely to the fact that some people that I've helped like that who are very effective, I say, you're really quite good at getting it into his head that he shouldn't do that. And they go, oh, good. I don't think he's sure what he's supposed to do instead.
Yeah, exactly.
And they go, yeah. But it's a subtle difference, but a big difference, because I find, especially if you got a big yielding colt or something that you got to be a bit firm with, and you go down the positive punishment line a fair bit with him, and you're pretty firm that he must not do that.
Yes.
But he doesn't really quite realise what he's supposed to do instead.
Yeah.
And then a bit later, they sort of fall into a trap. They get themselves into a trap where they do that wrong thing again, because young horses do. And it crosses his mind just after he did it. Oh my goodness, I'm in trouble. And they could do anything.
Yeah.
Strike you or kick you or something, because they suddenly go, I know what's coming.
Yeah. So they get defensive and they go on.
If you go down the similar looking but sort of different line, I find they don't feel as bottled up. And they go, oh, I did that thing I shouldn't have done. Oh, that's all right. He'll poke me till I stop. And it's not, oh, he's going to attack me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's no, there's an absolute art to it. Don't say do.
And Mark Langley, I've heard Mark Langley say they get them to where it's like two gunslingers in a Western movie. Your hand's hanging over your gun and his hand's hanging over his gun.
Yeah.
Someone only has to lose their nerve and move quick.
Yeah.
And it's all over. And that's exactly what you don't want to get a big yearling colt.
Yeah, no.
And I think the positive punishment, that's what often causes it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And a lot of people that criticize, you're doing punishment. It's just like, no, I'm actually not. And, there's another saying, make the right thing easy, the wrong thing difficult.
Yeah.
You can make the wrong thing just doesn't have to be easy. You don't actually have to necessarily do anything hard. You can just not do nothing.
I got a feeling, I think you and I have talked about, I think the day we met, I might have said this, Tom Dyer in later years changed it to make the right thing obvious.
Yeah, and I didn't know writing that down.
He was sick of watching people.
Yeah.
You make the right thing obvious and the wrong thing just difficult from the fact that it's not that easy thing.
Exactly.
It's just everything else.
You don't have to be brutal or hard. It just has to be not silence. It just has to be not a release, not.
Yeah. Well, I think last time we were talking about 101 things I wish someone told me, and they probably did. Steve Brady, when I used to go to a lot of Steve Brady schools, and he often didn't really talk maybe about the more philosophical, emotional side of some of my other mentors. But you'd go to some of those other mentors and get thinking that way and come back and watch Steve do the lunchtime demo, not Steve telling everybody else what to do. Someone would give Steve a problem horse and he'd deal with it at lunchtime. And so often, I'd get a bit frustrated with how he'd be having everyone to tap their horses over and maybe missing the easier option. But he was trying to get people who had no idea and horses that had no idea. So he'd be going, tap, 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 get him over there. And they're all pretty quiet horses. And then Steve would do the lunchtime demo with this stirred up, great big angry thing. And he'd just stick that stick out about 3 foot from its side and tap the ground. And that horse would look at it and Steve would stop. And if it wanted to run over and run through the stick, well, yes, it would get bigger. But so often he would tap the ground and it would move its head and it'd stop. And but he didn't explain that. I went and watched Harry Whitney or someone and came back with what I call the looking at the world through the Harry Whitney lens. And then I went, Steve's really very good at that. But he just didn't really explain it like that. But, they'd run into that stick if they wanted to swing around and kick him or something.
Yeah.
But he would go, if you come over here, you're going to run into this stick. And after about the third time, they'd just look at this stick, tapping the ground so softly it hardly scarred with death. The sand. And then they go, I'm not going over there. Maybe I should softly step over here. And then he'd just go, thank you.
Yeah.
But before lunch and after lunch, he's got people going, poke him, because that's where they were at,
Yeah, exactly.
With that, where the students are.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because that's what there's a lot of what I love talking to you about. Sorry, Kat, I know I'm taking over. So,
I love it.
what I love
You might get a bit more of a go when you talk to my brother, Kat, because it's more your air. Yeah, he's the footman.
Thanks for giving me a good excuse. But I love it because what you do, you really talk about the art of putting all the ways we can influence a horse together. I really like that. And it actually just reminded me because I did go to a Steve Brady clinic and yes, he did the dangerous horse at the really stirred up big horse. It was a horse that wouldn't get on the float. And so we opened up put the float into the arena, opened it all up, got a camp chair, sat in the camp chair with a long lunch. And yeah, he got that horse on that float just by sitting in his camp chair from a distance.
And good timing, just good timing.
Yeah, big timing. But the hilarious thing was, because back then I didn't have the eyes to be able to see what he was doing. And it's like, as you explaining that, I'm trying to draw back that memory to see what he was. But you're right. What he was doing was getting the horse to look in that float by doing something very subtle.
Another one of those examples of someone probably told me, Steve Brady told me years ago when he realised I was one of the students that showed up there that was going to be a professional. So he was always very nice that he just, you do this as a job. I'll just give you a little bit more time, Anything you want to ask him
and
at lunchtime.
probably push you a little harder too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because after a little while he'd go, well, if you're going to do this, you got to do it properly, But he said to me years ago, the better you get, I can't think of the words, but basically the better you get at picking up on a small try, the quicker you'll get on. And then I've heard it since lots of different ways, but Steve said it to me years and years ago. There's times when you might think, I don't know, is he trying? And it's just better to go, yeah, that was a try. If you think if it crosses your mind that was a bit of a try, it was a try.
Yeah,
but
pay it.
You might only need to give him 2 seconds.
Yeah, you're so right there because it's like when we draw back to our other conversation when we're talking about you release the pressure when the horse does the behavior, but what if you can see the thought before the behavior and whether you're releasing is that wrong? And that's what he's saying. The better you get at releasing earlier and earlier and earlier. So that's why you get better and better and better.
Yeah. And then it just snowballs. You get better on being better. And Julie and I, in the car when we used to drive to work all the time together, came up with this sort of progression of when you're not a horse player. Someone gave you the old kids pony and said, lead it over there. And it's like it's a carer, like the horse is a carer, that sort of horse. You pull and it walks and you release like 4 seconds after it walked. And it doesn't care because it knows where it's going,
Yeah.
And then you get a bit better and you release a bit after it walked. And then when you're a bit more experienced, you release just after it walked. And then you release as it walked.
Yeah.
And then you get to what we were just saying, you release when you realize it's going to walk.
Yeah.
But if you drew that in a circle, you could get back to you released when it didn't do what you wanted.
Yeah.
And the worst thing on that circle and the best thing on that circle to an inexperienced person look the closest.
Yes. Yeah.
You releasing because he decided to move when no one else around really realized he was going to move. And you release him when he said, I don't think so. They look very similar if you don't know much about it. So I think that's why we don't even want to start beginners at the releasing for a thought thing.
Yeah, they can't see it.
Except to make them aware that it's where you want to go.
Yeah.
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 Because that's the biggest mistake. I think that's why that my half-handy hypothetical person that I've been talking about,
Yeah.
the reason they know not to do what they think I did when I released the thought is they've had enough experience to go, well, you don't release for nothing / undesirable behavior.
Mm.
They know that. It's not because they're stupid. It's they know I should not release for the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And then they work out, oh, he's not releasing for the wrong thing. He's got a more nuanced take on what the right thing is.
Yeah.
So it is definitely a stage in your learning where you don't realize you can release for the wrong thing. And then you get half-handy and go, I have to be hyper-vigilant that I don't release for the wrong thing. And then you get a bit more confident and go, oh, there's wiggle room.
Yeah. Yeah. The more and more you can see.
So, do you want to recap or can I launch into another one?
No, you can launch into another one because I think that was really good. I've actually got the circular thing, and you're so right. And what you described then is why when I first watched Ross Jacobs work a horse, I decided for the first 2 hours he was crazy because he was doing all these things. But that was because I could not see what he was talking about and what he was targeting, which was the horse's thought. So to me, he was being messy.
This is a little bit getting back to defining what you want out of negative reinforcement. If you'd have known ahead of time exactly what he was releasing for, you wouldn't be so confused. So when people watch me and I say, I'm going to try and get this horse in the flow, then I released because he softened toward the flow.
Yeah.
But they just sort of assumed I meant move his feet.
Yes.
So, which eventually I want him to move his feet. But so they think I released wrong because they're watching his feet. But if I gave them another chance and said, watch his head, they wouldn't be so confused. So you've already, when you use a negative reinforcement, got to define what exactly am I releasing for and how exactly have I decided to apply pressure. Because everyone goes, negative reinforcement, you apply pressure and take it off when he does a thing. Well, what thing and what pressure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the oversimplified version of that.
Yeah. Because you might say you're teaching a little foal with a rump rope and a head collar, which I wouldn't necessarily do, but, are you mainly going to release that rope around his bum, or are you mainly working on the one around his head, or, that's up to you. As long as he knows and you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. But someone watching might go, oh, you confused him. You haven't got any pressure on the head. Well, maybe you were just working off the bum one for that moment. As long as you know and he knows, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So I was going to bring it back around to Ian Leighton the other day, because one of my things that I talked about with feel, you could define feel heaps of ways. I'm not trying to bottle it down to one thing, but one of the ways I sort of define feel is, well, I'll get into it in a second, but I actually sort of mainly went, I'm going to think about this more. I was watching Ian Leighton at Wagga, and it was a float loading problem, and he sort of got a little bit far away from us down the side of the float so we could talk. We weren't really getting in his way because he was having a bit of a talk to the horse, explaining that it didn't really want to go down the side of the vehicle. And so we could talk without sort of interfering with him.
Yeah.
And one of the ladies there said, he's got really good feel. And I said, he does. But what do you actually mean by that? It's just a term that we chuck around. And they're going, I don't know. And I go, I'm not trying to have a go at you. But before you can try and replicate what he's doing, you've sort of got to narrow it down. What is he doing? And so one aspect, there's lots of aspects to it, but I feel when you first get going with it, you learn to hang on and let go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting there. But I really think when you see someone working through a really tricky thing this is like on a rope or on a rein, when you can keep pressure with not a release, like a release comes when he does what you want, or in an absolute emergency, like a rear up or something where you might have to go, we'll have to have another go at this. But a full release, the horse is doing something in this scenario that does not merit a full release. But locking down on the pressure you decided you were going to apply, so like 40 units of pressure. You were going to lock down on 40 units of pressure. And then he's gone off his street on the other end. The ability for you to adjust so that doesn't go over 40 units, but it's not an inadvertent release. That's one of the things that I define feel. That's one of them. When you watch someone that can go, that didn't deserve a release. And as much as I said, outside an absolute, sometimes there's times where you just go, let it go. And if we all live, we'll go again in a minute.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. But if you're saying that doesn't deserve a full release, and then that sounds to some people who don't understand like you're being quite dominating or judgmental. No, nothing confuses a horse as much as an inadvertent release. So you're actually not being nasty. You're trying to be a good leader.
Yeah, be clear.
Yeah. So you therefore sort of become frightened. The better you get, I think, the more experience you get, you don't want an inadvertent release.
Yeah, no.
So you turn away from that area. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then if you stack on too much pressure, you'll blow the whole show. You know? So that ability to keep pressure, an appropriate pressure that is not an inadvertent release. I don't think it's often talked about.
No, it's so true. So just to recap, right? So you're applying a bit of, like, you're trying to train, you're increasing pressure, or you're holding it, waiting for the horse to release, but something will happen that will could, if you just kept your hand still, would escalate the pressure up. But if that happens, you'll escalate into chaos. So it's the ability to go with it and keep that pressure on and keep adjusting it so the units between you and the horse remain the same, so that you don't accidentally give a release or cause an escalation higher, which is not where you want to go. That is absolutely a skill. Am I on the right track?
That's pretty much what I was saying. And so often when you say to people, when he panics, don't pull, you don't want to pull harder. They agree. But I think what they forget is, even though they didn't pull harder, he did.
Yeah.
So I've started to get people to picture, if you had a fish weighing scale or a luggage weighing scale. In your rope, between you and him, there's a little scale, and you decided, 4 units of pressure was applicable. And if he doubles it, you've got to halve it. Whereas generally that's when an inexperienced people, their knuckles go white and they double it too. So then you've quadrupled it. And then you've generally got to let it go or loosen skin or.
It's that ability to actually be able to flow with it. Like, I think I learned that lesson when horses pull away from you and how to handle that. How you've actually got to, you're trying to get them to run away backwards, not turn around, but you're having to flow with them to keep that pressure on but keep them facing a certain way, but not escalate it so you don't lose your hands.
Not just giving him a free rein, pun intended, I suppose.
But
you know that you can't just lock him down, because if
Yeah.
you could, your training would be done.
Yeah.
The day when you can just lock him down and he goes, sorry, well, you're
Mm.
finished.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that takes care well. So this day watching Ian Leighton, that was when I just thought, what is it I'm trying to say to these ladies? Because it sort of sounded like I was being critical of him for a start. I went, no, but we're all in agreement that what he's doing down there is good and not everyone could do it.
Yeah.
But what is he doing? That's what
Yeah.
interested me. So I went home and thought about it and thought about what I do. And I think a lot of experienced people know what we just said, but I don't often hear someone define it, that it's that middle ground between over escalating and inadvertent release.
Yeah.
And because the release, it's not very nice to it.
No.
It's
Keep
not
it.
applicable.
Yeah.
It's
Keeps
like
it locked.
get you out of trouble at that moment.
Yeah.
And well, generally, I think what people don't realize is it just makes you more likely to hurt him next time. Because if he got a release doing something you don't want, you're going to have to hang on next time, and he's going to go harder because he got a release last time. And after that happens about 3 times, and they bring it to me, I go, no, someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah. No, this means that, it's, you don't want to make that mistake. And it's like, I'm quite neurotic. I wear very thin riding gloves when I work horses on the ground, and lots of people like to actually touch. But what I do is I'm so neurotic about not having my hands a rope burn, and the fear of rope burn or having that in my head. I would need to lock that away. I still make sure I got good feel through the.
But you take that out of the equation, sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I do not want to give a wrong release, because that, as you just said, that just mounts up the risk.
Yeah. And people think they're being nice at the time, but it's confusing everyone. Julie wears gloves quite a bit. I would have to start I feel like I'm working in mittens.
Yeah, lots of people do. You're either a glove person or definitely not. It makes some people feel claustrophobic.
I am not a glove person,
Yeah.
but then I'm thinking about one specific horse, and I'm like, maybe I should wear gloves.
Oh, and that's right. I will go and get a pair every now and again.
Yeah.
It's a tool that you've got it up your sleeve. But people like Buck Brannaman that are using lariat ropes and things, they often wear gloves, or can do. So, but I keep it up my sleeve.
Yeah, you keep it as an option.
Yeah, I don't get rope burns like I did years ago. But I say to people, or I can go 3 years. And then you'll get a doozy like that. It never quite goes out of the crazy.
Yeah.
Occasionally with bowls, I'll get a rope burn on the top of my thumb. With a long, quite a long, thin rope that I have in some cases, so that it's not heavy on his head.
Yeah.
If he gets a bit of pace up, and I just have to quickly let him go, it runs up over. It doesn't rope burn me in there where you normally hang onto it.
Yeah. Does it lead? Yeah.
It doesn't happen often, but it did happen last week.
No.
Anyway,
I
got to give you the Julie quote.
Yes.
The one that I wish I thought of. We were talking about a shut down horse.
Yeah.
And trying to explain to the person that it maybe wasn't as happy as they thought it was. And Julie said, is it an absence of worry, or is it an abscess of worry?
Oh, Julie. Now, I've got to say, Julie's your wife. Got to make sure you introduce Julie Cowell.
I guess it annoys me. Every time I say it annoys me, I didn't think of it.
I love that. That's a beauty.
It's deep and it's on the money. Exactly what was going on. Because then once we started working with it, we burst the abscess. And then people go, he doesn't normally do that. Okay. Well, One day
Yep.
he was going.
Yeah, that's in there. That's getting it out. It's locked down and now it's out.
Can
Yeah.
I ask Peter,
Yeah.
if I've got a horse, okay, can we talk about in an ideal world where you're working on the best facilities and you're
In
working
an ideal world, I wouldn't be working.
Well, unfortunately, in this ideal world, you are.
It's the only world.
Can you tell me how you would introduce a weanling or a horse that you're working with to tying up?
Oh, that's where we were.
What facilities you'd like and how you would sort of do that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, it's been said to death, but there's lots of things you could do. Like it's more. I mean, I remember another thing Steve Brady said when I once said to him, "If you keep showing me these things, it's going to take me months to break in a horse." And because they were showing me all these good things.
Yeah.
And he said something like, you really only need to do one or two things from each category for any given horse.
Yeah.
The reason you want as many things in each category as you can learn is for when you meet the different horse.
Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, I see
that's
your point.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you still only do one or two things to each horse, but the
Yeah.
next horse is one or two different things.
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah.
But I think getting him to lead for sure first, because I remember some of the racehorse people used to teach them to tie up so they could hold them when they were trying to lead them. And that used to disturb me.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think teaching him to lead, but when I say lead, I don't know what Pat Pirelli used to call lateral lunging, like not just lead, but can you sort of send him between you and the fence and tip his hinds and bring his shoulders through and that sort of thing. I don't think you should tie him up if there's any angle he's never felt.
Mm.
You know, if there's an angle of lead rope that he doesn't know what to do,
Yeah, what that feeling means.
why would you tie him up?
Mm. Good point.
And then lately, I've been with these weanlings. I'll get a little bit away from the fence and lead him towards the fence and use the stick on the outside if I have to, just tap it on the ground or on his neck or something, and get him to step away from me towards the tight rein towards the fence.
Yeah.
And maybe lead him between me and the fence and roll his hinds and do that sort of thing before I ever take him near the fence. But then I really like the rope round the hocks exercise. I don't know.
No, what's
You
that?
might not-
Explain that.
We may not call it that, but where you put the rope on the wrong side of his body.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
okay, yep.
You see Pat Pirelli and that do it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And put it
Round the
down.
world.
We
Yeah,
call
round the
it rope round.
Round the world.
But you put the rope on for someone
Other
else
side.
on the other side of his body, round his bum, and he has to go away to come back.
Yeah,
No, Steve Brady didn't really like that because of his background in trick entertainment horses and liberty horses, and he sort of didn't want them turning away. So he got that step done in a different way.
Yeah.
But what I like about the rope round the hocks, especially when you've been making him come to me, think to me, I think one of the traps in tying up is people pull their little friendly foal around, pat him on the head, pull him towards them. It's nearly all just opening the shoulder open the shoulder a bit and walking forward. They haven't rolled his hinds or anything like that. They haven't had him go past and have to step his hinds up and come back. They just pull him forward. And the rope means come to you.
Yeah.
And then they're going to tie to a fence and walk away.
And they can't come to you anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. So that rope around the hocks.
He has to go away.
Yes.
He has to follow the rope away from me for the very first time.
Yeah.
Because before that, me and the rope always meant the same thing, and he's never had to make a choice between me and the rope. And so then I'll put the rope around there, and it can get messy. So you get better at presenting it.
Yeah.
I think tip their nose away from you to help them get that outside bend. And then, but other little foals, some of them run off too quick, but something I stumbled onto years ago is if they're standing there, because you've done other things with them, and the rope is going down the other side, round their bottom, and you've got pressure on it, and they won't move, and they're sort of half stuck looking at you, so they're bent the wrong way. I'll have quite a long rope. I'll just bring that rope up the other side of him, folded across his nose, below or like just where the nose band is. And so now I'm around on the other side and just ask him to take a step with his shoulder.
Yes. Yeah.
As soon as he takes one step with his shoulder and goes over his nose, he'll just do what you want.
Yeah.
And that will go in the 101 things I wish someone told me 10 years ago. Because that not every horse will cop it. But if they've got to the stage where they sort of go, I'm not supposed to just race off, but I don't quite know what to do. Anyway, I'll do that, and then I'll take him up to a fence, and I like to have a ring or something on a piece of, how can I put it? You could just put the rope around the post.
Yeah.
But I quite like having like 30 centimeters of rope with the ring on the end of that. Rope through that. But you don't have, like, this is what I said, you can do so many things. So we might leave that out for a second. So we've taught him right around the hocks, and we've taught him to go between you and the fence. And then you go up the fence, put the rope around the post and take it, bring it out over his back or something, and then just ask him to head off along the fence. And then you walk towards his tail, and hopefully it's like rope around the hocks, but now the post is in the system.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm being clear, but you've added the post in the rope around the hocks system.
Yeah.
So he heads along the fence, you head past his tail to the fence. So that the sooner he can find you in his fence eye, the better.
Yeah.
And then because it's to your hand, if he's really good, he'll just tip his nose and step round. And if he feels he has to go 2 channels down the fence, well, you can just feed
the rope through.
Feed it out until you go. And sometimes it just doesn't work at all, and you let everything go. And so,
but a lot, it's just teaching them to follow that and to follow the rope.
And you're giving him the tools to do what you about to ask him to do. There's hardly anything that you've asked that you hadn't already asked, but you just rolled it into one. And I think the main mindset different to what a lot of people think is they're going to lead him up and tie him to that post, and they'll put him 90 degrees to that post.
Yeah.
And as soon as he pulls back, he'll pull back from that post.
Yeah.
But if you put him along the fence, put the rope round the post and bring it out over his wither, the very first thing you've asked him to do is go forward, and you've given him somewhere to go forward.
Yeah, to go.
But if he's looking at the post, generally he won't go forward, or he'll jump forward and hit his head and go, I'm never doing that again. Yeah. Then he'll pull back.
Yes.
So I think maybe the biggest thing I like about that way of doing it is you're not thinking of him to the fence, you're thinking of him along the fence.
Yeah.
And then if he turns and he's, you can go and pat him on the head, right? Take it over his ears and lay it on his wither and send him away.
Yeah.
If he was a high energy horse, I might add a ring about as high as I could reach up the post and put the tail of the rope to the ring. Then he can keep turning under
under it.
But I can still let it all go.
Yeah, you have to.
So that's the sort of thing I like to do.
Yeah, see, I like that.
Rail it back to goal, not a method. The goal is that he'll stand looking at the post 90 degrees.
Yeah.
That's nearly the last thing I want him to do.
Yeah. You,
parallel to the fence, and then 30 degrees, 45 degrees,
yeah.
until he owns all those angles.
Yeah, so I love that. So just to recap, really what you're doing is you put a lot of effort in the horse following the feel of that halter from the rope that initially can get connected to you, and that can be
Yeah.
the problem.
And that's
But-
not a terrible thing, but it could be.
Yeah, but it can be when
Yeah.
you're trying to, you got to disconnect yourself because they're going to be tied up to a fence post or a teaching rail or whatever. So you've got to get them more focused on the feeling on their face. So you're doing a lot of the rope around the hocks or around the world, or
something that is saying, follow this rope.
follow the rope, not the person. You're still
Eventually
connected
you'll
to
get
it.
back to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'll pat you on the head again.
Yeah. Then you're introducing the fence just into the system, being able to move them around the fence.
And it
And then
doesn't matter then if he wants to be 6 foot to the fence or 4 foot, or, you know.
yeah.
Instead of going, you are now
90
35
degrees
centimeters.
face on.
Yeah.
You are attached to the fence now, and you
Yeah.
are this far away from it.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
love that. And I love how it's a great example of that's a goal, not a method
Yeah.
of getting them 90 degrees onto a hitching rail or a fence post.
It's funny how you change your attitude, because years ago I thought nothing of it. And now when I do a little mob with horses, and this first time that I tie them up sort of solid,
Yeah.
but they've had several
Lead ups.
lead ups to it.
Mm.
The odd one that's sort of half quiet and just pulls up, like as soon as I tie him up, he sort of kicks his hind out and stands 90 degrees. I'm going, oh, I'm a little uncomfortable, you know. But he doesn't do anything wrong. But the ones that stay parallel to the fence as I walk away, I prefer it, because
Yeah.
they pull back. When they jump forward, they won't hit their head on the tree.
Yeah.
And if they're full of beans and want to walk forward, they'll just walk forward and roll, disengage themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. No, very good. That's okay.
That's too much, right?
No, that's okay. It's all good.
Anyway, you keep coming back to the same concepts, but that's good, I suppose. That's what-
No,
Yeah,
that's what they,
The whole point.
yeah.
I have a whole little, one day we could do a whole video on things to do with a rope with a knot in it and a dog clip. I just have this whole collection over the years of things I've learned to do with a rope and a knot and a dog clip.
Oh, definitely going to have to do that. I'm intrigued now.
But I will start with this tying up thing.
Yeah.
If you get a long rope, tie a knot in it.
Mhm.
It's got a clip on the end that goes on the head collar.
Yep.
But then you come down 30 or 40 centimeters, tie a knot, and thread another dog clip with a round eye on, so it's on the correct side of the knot. If you put it on one side of the knot, you've essentially tied him to the fence.
Yes, I see. Yeah.
So one clip is clipped, the fixed clip and the lead is clipped to the horse.
Yeah.
The running clip that you just thread your long rope through, you clip that clip to the fence.
Yeah.
Or tie it from twine to a post and clip it to the fence.
Yeah.
So if you forget the knot for a minute, he's now the same as if we'd threaded our rope around the post.
Yeah.
Except when you thread the rope around the post, when he's changing direction, it's not quite symmetrical. One way the rope crosses itself. If you lift the rope up and put it over his head or something, you've sort of crossed it because you wrapped the rope around the post when he was facing that way.
Yeah.
Whereas if you clip a dog clip to the post with a swivel eye,
Yeah.
put your rope through that, it never changes. So he doesn't.
Yeah, okay.
He won't catch you on a side that has more friction than the other side, and get himself where you go, that rope didn't release how I wanted it to release.
Yeah.
So, but where the knot comes in
Yep.
is you just say, how long would I ideally want him tied? Say 40 centimeters or 20 centimeters or whatever the scenario.
Yeah.
Tie the knot there, but make sure the knot's on your side, not the knot's on his side. Sorry.
So you can release it. Yeah.
No, it releases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after a little while, when you let him go a heap of times and he starts to settle, you can do things like take that rope down the side of him, say he's standing 45 degrees of the fence. You can walk out behind him, put that rope around his bottom and pull his bottom over the fence.
Yeah.
And prepare him for a divider in a truck or
Wow.
or long range. You can prepare him for long range. But when you pull him, what's the old saying? You want to know how I know this?
Yes.
If you don't have the knot and you have to pull a bit hard to get him to take a step over, you pull his face up the fence.
Okay.
Because the rope is going from his head through the dog clip around, and you're going, get over here, and you look up and you've got his face.
Yeah.
But if you tie the knot,
I love that because I could have worked out how to introduce babies to going in the angle float in the nicest way possible. And that is exactly how to do it.
Because
very clever.
Like everything, it can get messy. You know, for anyone listening that hasn't done much else, I'd get someone to help you or try it on an older horse. A good old horse. Some old horses are no better at this than other ones, but just get a horse that you go, he's not going to freak out. Because I had to come home from Steve Brody clinics and Phil Rody clinics and things and get my lead pony and do all sorts of things to him. Because you think if I get all dangled up, well, I'll just let it all go and he'll just look at me. He's been laid down, done all sorts of things. So he was one of the hardest horses I've ever done to lay him down.
Oh, really?
It was supposed to be to give me more practice and show Julie. But it was all interesting. But anyway, so if you have the knot so that he can never get tighter than the 30, 40 centimeters that you give.
Yeah.
But then you don't have to be taking much notice. You can get out at 45 degrees, keep tension on that rope, do a star jump up and down, whatever you like. And you're not accidentally, he's tied about as long as what you want.
Yeah.
If he falls back, you just feed him back.
Yeah.
And if you make sure, ideally, that you don't have a knot on the very end of your long rope, if in doubt, you just let the whole thing go, and he'll pull it out of the dog clip. And, anyway, it's an easier thing to show someone than tell.
But I appreciate that. That's a really
if you've never done anything like it, that's a lot to think about. But when you've done other things similar to it, you go, I get what you're saying. But,
I think that's just a really good, it just shows how well you prepare them. Preparing every angle of the feeling on that face, separating yourself from getting used to the fence. It's very clever. Very clever.
And it fits in a lot with what Ian Leighton was saying last week. You don't go, well, I'm going to tie him up. You go, what does he have? What are the bits to tie him up? And then you never quite know how it's going to go, but a lot of times you just think, oh, that's really nice. But early on, that's why I didn't want to overcomplicate it, but early on, the way where the tail of the rope part of me goes to something high, where if he just wants to keep going, you can just let him keep going.
Yeah.
You're not demanding that he stops.
No, yeah.
And he just goes under your hand.
Yeah.
So you need a high enough post that he's tied to that
it's out of the road.
You don't have to do it that way. But then, so what I often think is the more advanced way is what we just said there, because I can start saying, no, you're not to go past and back and past and back and past and back. I'm going to stop you and keep you here. And if you do it tied about chest height, it means getting back to Kat's angle load thing. it's going from his head to a dog clip tied at his chest height. If you go around behind him, it wraps around his chest and down along the side of him.
Yeah.
And then if he sort of panics because you're squeezing him between that rope and the fence and he bulges out of it, and this is what I used to watch Steve Brady do and didn't really understand it. He doesn't try and stop them bulging out. He just lets them bulge out and puts them back.
Yeah.
So that's that bit you were saying where you don't hold them so tight that you escalate. If you can't hold them, you can't hold them. They just go right out, but then you just pull them back again. And then you sort of, this is where it's hard to explain to someone. There's a point where you go, you're a big enough boy now, I'm just going to hold this, and you're not allowed to bulge out. But
you have the coping skills to work through this, and I believe in you.
Yeah. But you don't try that when you know it's not going to work. But there comes a time when you go, I'm not going to open this rope up more than 45 degrees.
Yeah.
You're going to sort it out. Because I think that if someone was watching you, it looks like you're pulling them and holding them to the fence. Whereas in my mind, I lay that on his side.
Yeah.
He steps off it. And then I lay it on his side and he steps off it. And then I lay it on his side and he steps off it. It looks like you just pulled him out of it. But it's sort of quite a different.
Yeah. And if they move back into you, it just means you've got more room to teach them. You just got enough
that's right.
to bring them back over, like teach them to move off.
You've just fitted in 3 repetitions instead of 1.
Yeah.
So where I was going with that is, so it ends up round their chest as well. So the next thing it'll cost his mind to do is to walk forward. And he's already gone past the tie-up at this point. So it's not the rope that's pulling him forward. As he walks forward, the tie is sort of down the side of it. So you can actually get him to back off the chest. So it's related to a horse float or something with a chest bar because he's actually got to step back off his chest. So it's a good little thing, but if you're not experienced and haven't done all the bits, it can get quite messy. And next thing it's wrapped around and it's under there. That's just probably the one thing you've got to be careful of if you're pulling him over is you don't get under his tail.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
I mean, it can happen, but all of a sudden you get under his tail, he clamps his tail.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's one of those things where, like, if you get under the tail, you need to be aware that you're doing it and be willing to fix the situation.
Yeah, and a lot of the time you just go with it and he'll lift his tail. And the main way to teach him not to lift his tail is try and pull it out from under his tail.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to get stuck there for 10 minutes trying to get out from under his tail and have a big fight, try and pull it out from under his tail. Because you just got to try and get a spot where he stops and he lifts his tail.
Get it out.
I remember once years ago, Karinga started driving, long-range driving, a great big 2-year-old colt that I didn't want to stand in front of, and I long-ranged him just off the halter. He'd never had a girth or anything on. I taught him long range just off the halter, and then I drove him outside the round yard. And my goal was to drive him back in. It took 40 minutes to get him back in. But somewhere in the middle of that, he got one rein under his tail, and the dog clip on the other rein broke.
Whoops.
So I had this well-bred, thoroughbred 2-year-old colt out in the open with one rein broken on the ground and one rein under his tail. And that is what Julie and I now call a funny now story.
A funny now, not funny then.
If you're having a coffee or a beer with someone, they're great stories.
Oh, but you need them. It's those... It's all the...
It all ended well. Sorry,
yeah.
You probably assumed that because the story stopped. So
the story stopped. You got this.
Well.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, you got to have some. You got to have some mistakes. You got to have some situations like that to.
Sometimes
tightens the skills up.
Sometimes they're a mistake, as in a bad judgment from you.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're just
freak. It's just
happens.
And you're going to have to handle it.
Yeah. Like I've had situations where a rope has just caught the wind. Got a weird flick in it.
And gone places where you go, if I needed that rope to go there, I would never be able to get it. Uncle Lou that we talked about last week had a saying when things like that would happen. He said, if a man was falling off a cliff, do you think that thing would catch him there? Because it'd just catch, or, you needed it to catch. It wouldn't catch.
Yeah,
that was one of his favourite sayings. There was more bad language in the quote than what I said, but that was but anyway, what you said early on, Shelley, about the art, we're discussing the art.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
A saying I stole off a fella called Cody Lundeen, who's a survival expert in America and primitive skills expert, and he said this about making fire with primitive skills under adverse conditions. But he said it's part art, part science, and part humility.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
I really like that. The day I heard him say that, I'm going, I'm having that, because I mean, especially with your background and what you two are doing on this show, it's part science.
Yeah.
Part art, and the other part is you just going, I don't know.
Yeah, you got to give it a crack.
Yeah.
you got to be prepared to wear it. That's whatever happens.
I think where that saying come from, some reporter or something was saying, "Oh, you're so good at this, Cody. You could start a fire in the bush with a shoelace and a bottle, And he's going, "Well, I probably could." But if you're cold and wet, you'll die as easy as anyone else has done in the last so many thousand years. And the scenario could be against you, and, don't be too cocky.
No, cockiness doesn't get you far, especially not with horses. They've got, as I said, I believe
that's why I like it, because he was dealing with a similarly.
Yeah. Well, nature. Nature.
Yeah. So that's where the humility. Anyway, we've done some saying.
Excellent. Okay.
We might be nearly over time, are we?
No, that's all right. Well, anyway, of course, I've absolutely enjoyed this. We've gone through so much.
I want to throw in one last thing that.
Oh, good.
Now that I've probably got enough credibility that it's about time I sunk myself again and said something crazy.
Go for it.
Love it.
When I just so much look at their face now, their head, and where they're thinking and where they're looking, and it crossed my mind, I don't know if I would say this, but if you were talking to a pony club group or something, it's where their attention, I sort of picture their attention as just, yes, you look at their actual eyes and face, but I somehow picture it as being just in front.
Yes.
I don't know why, just that's how I think of it. And you'd almost tell a pony club kid or something, imagine they had an invisible unicorn horn.
Yeah.
Or an antenna.
Yes, an antenna. That's a good one.
Because if you actually watch where that imaginary antenna went, that's where he's going to go.
Yeah. No, that's true, because they're so sensory. They're smelling.
I really do it all the time. I do it.
They're scanning. So you kind of see when they go like, and they lock in on you. Yeah, so that's true. It's not just because their eyes are on the side of their head. Yeah, you can. It's something else. I absolutely love that.
You do watch their eyes, but I almost feel like it's somewhere between their eyes and their nostrils and their ears. It creates like an aura out there.
Yeah.
And that's I've said enough sort of sensible things. But that stuff makes sense to me. You just don't want to get too far ahead of the people you're talking to, I suppose.
No, how am I going to say this? It's like people like getting all mystical and magical and spiritual with horses, and they try to say, you're all like being all black and white and that's not you. You don't do woo and stuff like that. And I say, look, there is woo. There's big woo, but you can't see it unless you see the bricks and mortar first.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to start somewhere. Because I was only thinking yesterday, or what we said earlier today, when I said, if you've got a gut feeling or you think that you should release, you should release. I was thinking today with playing with one. I've almost gone full circle to if someone let me in the yard with that horse and I'd never touched the horse, I would have said, that horse is thinking about doing that.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, and then but I would have been terribly naive in many other areas and I wouldn't have been safe to be in there. But I probably would have crossed my mind, I think he's looking over there. And then for years you learn a lot, but you lose a bit. You sort of overcomplicate it.
And then you got to strip it back again. You got to.
And then you can finally come back to going, well, I know enough to make it work now. And I think that horse is looking over there.
Yeah. Well, this is my woo story, right? When it came to working with horses and why the nuts and bolts kind of matter. You got to learn it. You just can't go straight to enlightenment level. I remember I was working a 2-year-old colt had just come off the truck. It had any handling. If it was off its trolley, it was in a new place. It had been on a truck for days. And it was being very, it was just being like you'd expect a 2-year-old colt that was out of its place. And I was just working him in the round yard because he was pretty full on. And there was this moment, and I just even knew it was going to happen. It was just at that moment where I stepped in front of his drive line and he stopped and he faced up and he kind of got it. It kind of worked out that I was communicating with him. And at that moment, I felt this thing, I don't know what it was, felt this thing go like, and it's just like, I got that horse now. That horse we're a thing now. He just handed himself to me or something just happened between me and him. And then from there on in, like it was like the turning point of everything. Then it was just like, got it. And I was like, wow, that was weird how I could actually feel it, like not just his attention on me, but it was deeper than that. And I know if I tell that, I've got to be careful telling that story, right? But then I should go on
podcast where everyone's going to hear it.
Yeah, but I deliberately don't say it because people just latch onto that. They want to get the feeling, and it's like, because from that moment on, then I could always tell then when a horse was going to change. I could always get this feeling. And then I realized I didn't have to wait for them to do it. I just do it back to them. And I don't even know if I just believe it. You just believe that horse is going to do it. Just do it back. But, I start to feel that moment when you got that horse. And look, I can even say what it is. Horses have collective intelligence. They got a herding instinct. And there's a link. They can link to each other. Fish do it. Birds do it.
They're expecting to do it.
Yeah.
And we can almost teach them not to bother. Like,
yes.
In normal life, once they end up in racing and that, they go, because when you first run one in, he might think you're going to eat me, which is like Ian Leighton said, nothing we do is natural, except maybe to eat them and suck the marrow bones. That's what people did for a long time with horses.
Yes, they were just food.
I mentioned the bones because that's how they know they ate them, because they find the cracked open bones.
Yeah.
So that's the natural thing. He runs in and you don't do that. Then I think comes the bit where he's open to what happened with you. Then we go, no, don't worry about that. And then like a lot of this stuff I'm talking about, where they look and catching their attention when I'm drafting horses and stuff, it gets trained back out of them again. I go to show someone, and it's not as easy as with these weanlings, because that horse goes, people don't make any sense.
Yeah, I can ignore them.
Yeah.
But I can say that I only knew that. I only was aware of that sensation because I was so automatic in what I was doing because my skills were so high. And I was like, my mind was quiet, wasn't double guessing things. I was coordinated. I was flowy. So
you weren't really thinking about pulling the rope or the kick or any of those things. You're just doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's why I don't kind of talk about it. 'Cause it's like I had to do all the hard yards of learning how to do it well and stuffing it up and getting better at it and doing a lot of horses to be able to get to that state. But got to ask you, Peter, do you feel any woo? Do you have any woo stories?
Don't. Julie, were you seeing the creamy?
Yeah.
Julie's got a story. She's in her pajamas, so she won't come on. But we had a buckskin mare here of friends of ours to break in.
Mm-hmm.
And she was pretty wild. As in, she hadn't had anything happen to her bad. She just had nothing happen to her.
Wasn't handled.
I'll tell you, the first thing I learned off it is I ignored a few things I probably had learned when I still was young and silly enough, and gave her first canter. She didn't want to go, and I got Julie to go in and lunge her a bit, and she took off fast, and I let her go, and she crossed her feet and fell.
Ooh, yeah.
Broke my ankle. So that's not the story. This is setting up the story. So I got back on. Julie said, "Oh, are you all right?" I said, "No, but while the adrenaline's going, we'll finish cantering her." And then this was quite a lot of years ago. Anyway, but then I was off on crutches for a while. And so Julie finished off these horses. And she had it for a long, long time. And because she ended up having a foal. She was in foal and we didn't realise. And
oh, wow.
So she had to live it out for a long time. And anyway, Julie finally took her back to her friends and dropped her off in a little tape yard with other horses. We got back in where she was born.
Yeah.
We got back in our car and drove off, and then we look in the mirror and this horse has jumped the tape and cantering after us.
No way.
I said, if you saw that on Yellowstone or something, Heartland, what a load of rubbish. But
wow.
All of us drove off, whinnied, and jumped the tape and cantered after us.
Wow. You were her people.
Yeah. And so we keep that as our story of what you're talking about going, I don't know. But if you told me, I'd have said, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And who knows what's going on. But anyway, you sort of feel bad that we had to catch her and take her back again. But
put her back in the tape yard.
Yeah. They're nice people where we left her. And, it was all good again. But no, that was one of those things where you go, well, what you're saying about the woo, I was talking about this to a friend lately. I'm not particularly a believer in some people get a bit carried away, but what I am is I'm not a skeptic. I'm a skeptic, but I go, well.
I like that description. I describe that as myself as well.
Something I can say something happened there.
Yeah.
I think the two extremes are people go, nothing happened there, or people go, I know what happened there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I go, I don't know, but something happened there. I've stolen a thing. I think I talked to you about him. I think I've mentioned Ian McGilchrist, who's nothing to do with horses, but he talks about the left and right side of the brain and how the brain
yes. Yeah.
I've stolen a thing off him. I mean, I'd heard it before, so I didn't strictly steal it entirely off him. But he's just about things in general. He said he's a skeptic among believers and a believer among skeptics.
Yeah. That's a good middle ground. Someone in the middle.
I think that's me, for sure.
Sitting on the fence.
People will start coo-hooing a subject and I'll go, well, I mostly agree with you, but I don't think we can entirely get rid of it. But then I'll say the same about the opposite thing as well. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, there's my favorite. One of my favorite saying is, and I think it is an anonymous quote, although might have to look up who actually said it. But you got to be, don't be so open-minded that your brains fall out.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
don't think I've heard you say that before, Shelley.
I think that's a good one. Like, don't be closed-minded, but don't be so open-minded, because people always say that to me. I get accused of that all the time. Oh, I've been closed-minded, and it's and it's something that's super that can be explained by something else. It's, Occam's razor is a thing.
Yeah, there's a reason why you start there. It's like I often say, it may not mean what you think it means, but people say, do you believe in ghosts? And I go, I don't know that I do, but I believe people do. So already that's a phenomenon.
Yeah.
It affects people. It's already a thing you've got to take into account.
Yes.
And then who's to say there's not something happening, but I don't pretend to know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas people want to go one way or
the other. Well, that's a good way.
I feel the same way about aliens, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, well, I just remembered one other whole thing with the weanlings that I want people to think about.
Coming back. Yeah.
When you're leading them over something scary or to tread on a tarp or something, I see, especially around the race world, people are so sure that you can't let it possibly take another step back. They pull so hard, they can't even move head.
Yeah.
And I think that they're doing themselves as such a big tool, because if you're getting back to our feel of hang on enough that he knows you'll not release, but light enough that he can roll his head around, look over.
Through all his emotions.
Well, then when he comes back to the middle, you get to release when he's in the middle.
Yeah.
The person that's watching you going, that's what I do, has got 47 units of pressure on while he's in the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
We just let go.
Yeah.
And with float loading, I've started saying it to people. It took me years to think to say it. And I told a lady and she said, that is great. When she had the horse sort of on and I nearly on it, if you pull him or try and hold his head down, he'll run off backwards.
Yeah.
So give him a little bit, but tip him back. If he looks left, tip him back to the middle, release him in the middle. If he looks right, tip him back to the middle and release him in the middle. And after about 40 seconds of that, he walked all the rest of the way on.
Yeah.
But if she'd have pulled, he wouldn't have come on. And if she hadn't have addressed the looking away, within another 30 seconds, he'd have turned around and left. So let's just say, just release him back to the middle, pull him and release him in the middle.
Yeah. Keep that thought in the head in that way.
But you do it so that where you want his head is the release. People go, that everywhere else is a possible release for him, and in here it's awful. Yeah. And they think letting him take one step back is the end of the world for their ego or something. Whereas often, the place you were trying to get him, after he goes back a bit and didn't get any release, he'll often come forward and go where you want him.
Yeah.
But that's back to that feel thing. You didn't just let him go backwards free. You let him go backwards with an annoying amount of pressure.
Yeah. And it wasn't nothing.
Yeah. And then he says, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then he comes forward. And so here's another little wordplay thing. If you try to get him to step on a board or something, and there's two word plays. I call it mind in the middle. I want your mind in the middle. If you look over there, and you're not pulling him forward. You want him to, he sort of knows you want him to come forward, but you're not trying to drag him forward. You just mind of the middle, release, mind of the middle, release, mind of the middle, release. And then often they'll step forward, even though it's fairly slack lead. But then the other one is when you're holding a bit and they roll their head around. I picture if you had a spirit level between their eyes.
Yeah.
When they're rolling their head around, one ear and one eye's up, but then the other ear and eye's up. When in the moment where he's sort of in the middle and the spirit levels
equal,
release.
Release.
And so I sort of made myself laugh with this wordplay because I was trying to have him mind in the middle, or I put it a different way and said, I want you to centralize. Stop going over there. I want you to centralize. But then the wordplay, I was watching his eyes, central eyes. I want.
Oh, yeah. Clever.
I want you to.
That took me longer than it should have.
Yeah. But yes, if you picture a spirit level between his eyes, often if you just don't release when he's tipping and then give a partial release when he goes flat, a minute later or a moment later, he'll do something good.
Yeah.
But this is all right at the start when you're trying to get him to tread on something scary or something and he has no idea. I'm not trying to say people have to do that every time they ever want to take him.
Yeah.
When he's been on the float 47 times.
Yeah.
It's just when you're going, could you possibly entertain the thought of treading on this thing? And he's going, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's all like building, especially with the little guys that you're dealing with. You're kind of building that trust that we ask you to do weird things, but nothing terrible happens. And you're just building them up to that moment instead of making a traumatic moment. You're just chipping away at it, getting them to think about it. Nothing, because I think a lot of horses get worried about the fight that they're about to have with the weird object. It becomes about between what happens to them and a human when something makes them feel uncomfortable, then about the thing.
It's a bit like you and Ian were talking about the scary end of the arena. You take me up the arena and have a big fight with me all the time.
That's right. They're not worried about up there. They're worried about you in that zone.
Yeah. You're always crazy when you're up there.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot to it. And if I do use a stick or something, because I do to try and make things go fast enough, I do tap them with a stick. And I don't think a racehorse should go away into the world not knowing that he's supposed to go forward when someone taps him.
Yeah.
So I do it. But Mark Langley and I have talked about this before. Early on, you can tap the ground, you can tap in front of him. This is what freaks people out. If he's pulled back a little bit, you've let him slide a bit, and he's 6 foot back. I'm tapping between him and me sometimes. And if you get sort of this, if you were moving sheep or something, you'd go, that won't work. But the thing I think people miss is it's not really, I'm not using the stick to make him do it. I still want the lead rope to make him do it.
Yeah.
And the pressure never went off the lead rope.
Lead rope. Yeah.
You're just there going, try harder.
That's not the answer. That's not the answer. Yes, that's the answer.
And it doesn't really matter where the stick is then.
Yeah.
And then I find that after they understand that, instead of tapping on the ground and rubbing him with it, while it's up there, I can just tap him on the hip because it's convenient, because it's there. And then they just go, oh, he's tapping on the hip instead of on the ground. Whereas years ago, I probably would have just went, well, I'm going to whack him on the hip again to do it without any of that understanding. It looks the same, but it's not near the same.
Yeah, no, that's the people don't get that. It's like it looks, and when you explain it, it seems to be a little bit backwards, a little bit slower, but it's actually faster because
then it goes full circle to what they think.
That's right. And that whole circle thing you talked about before of what you're doing.
And the goal, not a method.
Yes. Pete, we have had another great conversation. So definitely, you're coming back. We got more to learn, and Julie's coming next time.
Sometimes I think, is this going to be able? Can I explain this over the internet? But you start with and then you're deciphering it for the people. So that's
I do that. I keep going back over things so we can see it. So we looked at lots of things. We looked at we looked at desensitizing and sensitizing and the nuance of that, and a lot of releasing pressure and that whole, I love that, the circular thing of what people actually see and what you're actually doing and what you actually release on and what it looks like. That was it's like just if you just visually do it, not because it's feel. What is feel? It all comes down that, and it's something that we can't explain well with words. So you've got to do these analogies and metaphors. to try to
get analogy. I've always had this drive to come up with an analogy for an analogy.
I'm sure you will. And then that thing you did, what you explained about tying up and how thorough and looking at it from so many different angles. Like I'd actually never thought about that. I had just with when I do tying up, it's like you just made me realize I had a big gap, that whole thing about putting yourself where the pressure's coming and having to get yourself out of that picture. I think that was very vital in the whole scheme of things. I think that was very clever. I'm very good at getting horses to come off pressure and understand pressure, but the whole thing of making sure you remove yourself from the direction of the pressure and onto that. I think
that's where the trap can sometimes be.
It is the trap.
If you're very good at something, there comes, I mean, I'm sure you've been there. There comes a time when you get yourself in trouble because you're so good at something. The horse, you're sort of forcing him to do it without realizing. I don't know.
It kind of just does it.
Yeah,
I think I ended up with a bent nose once about 20 years ago from a horse that I just blocked from running away. I was so effective. And in the end, it was, pop me.
Yeah, so I can't go that way.
There was plenty of room technically, but I was so good at saying, you can't get away. Get away. You know, I'm going through that.
Yep. There's another option.
I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but I'm going, it just made me think of it when you said I was really good at doing this.
Yes.
It has its own traps. Because
it does. No,
you've just got yourself into a situation that a less effective person has never been in.
Yeah. And again, it comes back to that humility that you talked about, one part science, art, and a big dose of humility with it. Because whatever you know and you can do, although it lets you see things, it creates blindness in other ways. And that what you just said there was a good one.
Even when you're aware of it. Another way of looking at it, with all what we've been talking about, giving him the tools to do it. A friend, a lady that used to keep a horse here actually came up with this. I was explaining all that, and he has to know that, and he has to know that, and he has to know that, so he gets the full picture. And she said, "It's like a join the dots." She said,
"Yeah."
And then I said, "Yes." And some horses need more dots.
Yes. So true. And it doesn't look like, it just looks like random dots on a page until you start putting it together and it starts looking like the picture.
Then we ran with that analogy. Say the dots, another way of saying dots is they're like stepping stones.
Yeah.
And by the time your dressage horse is doing St. George, it's a bridge. It's not stepping stones. You've laid enough. You've put one between that, and then one between that, and one between that. Unless they've got a hole in it, it's a dam, I suppose. It's not a bridge. But at the start, if you think like that, you don't get so demoralized because you go, the bridge I'm trying to build for my dressage horse, these three skimpy stepping stones that look like they got nothing to do with it are actually on the line of the bridge. And now I've got 5 stepping stones. Now I've got 7 stepping stones.
And then you keep laying over it again, going over it again, adding another layer till you build a bridge.
That very first day when I get a rope on a weanling, and just 3 times, I said. Anyway, there's a lot to do. But I'm happy to do it again, but we're probably...
Good. We'll have Julie too, and I'll get on to Adrian too. But super.
Well, he's pretty busy at the moment, but send him.
I will tee it up. I'm on the road for quite a few weeks.
Oh yeah,
I've got about 8 weeks on the road coming up.
Hey, have fun. That sounds wild, Shelley.
Yeah,
I've just done 2 weekends in a row, and I'm down. I am so done.
I've got weeks and weeks ahead of me. I've got a big clinic thing. And anyway, but next year we're booking in. We're going to come to wheelings with you.
Yeah, well, I didn't think to sort of like to tell you earlier, but I wasn't exactly sure what we were doing.
No, we're going to celebrate the 25 years and we'll capture it. That will be good, I reckon.
And it'd be good to have someone there to film some of it.
Yeah, we'll do some filming. We'll do it. We'll lock it in. Anyway, Pete, we'll say goodnight. And I'll be in touch so we can do some more. So we'll say goodbye for the podcast and then we'll say goodbye properly afterwards. So thanks so much for coming on, Pete.
Thank you. So good to meet you, Pete.
See you next time. Bye.